Welcome to Guys Like Us. This is the podcast about the things that you start thinking about when you are, and we gotta admit that, in that phase of your life that is called midlife. And you will hear stories from myself and my good friend Marc calling in from New York again about family and leadership and relationships and friendships and fatherhood, like tonight.
Okay.
Yeah, that's the topic for tonight. And we're very happy for you to be listening to us and looking forward to tonight's conversation, which I think is going to be exciting and kind of a straight continuation of last week's podcast that we did about what it means to be a man in the modern age. Kind of riffing off Scott Galloway's new book, Notes on Being a Man. So yeah, interesting stuff tonight, Marc. How are you coming into this conversation today?
I need to tell you, it's been a week. I'm so happy it's Friday, and it's been a mix of big announcements. It's been a mix of seeing old friends and overindulging. It's been a days of detoxing. It's been a days of imagining. So and then connected to this subject, it's also being a hardcore father throughout, and by that I mean early wake ups, putting kids to bed, sick kids throwing up and being sick, and
I love
teaching life
that.
lessons, all of it.
All of it. All right. All right.
What about
All right.
you?
All right. I know. I mean, it's been just a full week of work, to be honest, and my back hurts because I haven't been sitting like this in a long time, to be honest, and actually doing stuff. So
You
I'm
haven't been a
like,
slide monkey in a really long time, huh?
no, I'm not. I mean, I've been trying to, yeah. Actually, I did 2 or 3 this week. I'm quite proud.
Oh yeah.
So yeah. So no, I'm good. I'm good. It's been like, the one thing that I never ceases to amaze me is how busy everything gets by the end of the year, and how
Crazy.
it always feels like this is the end of the world and we need to get everything done now. And it's the same with buying Christmas presents, where I have great ideas in November, then I'm like, I have enough time, and then all of a sudden it's a week before Christmas, and I can't get the shit anymore that I wanted to get because I forgot and I hate it. So what I can't believe about this is happening every year, and I don't
All right.
seem to zero learning curve. Like
This is
zero,
so
it's flat.
relatable.
It's actually going down.
Totally. This is so relatable. Can I tell you what the Christmas gift that my brother, who was a genius, thought of, or was a genius at that point in time, thought of, but then is an idiot because he didn't buy right away? A
No.
Black Friday
Yes,
gift.
I mean,
So my dad, you ready? A Japanese toilet. That was a gift for my dad. A Japanese.
that's
awesome.
awesome.
It was such, because my dad has a cane and kind of walks, and like the Japanese toilet, like you walk in, it automatically
I'd
lifts
love
up.
one.
It goes like angels
Yeah, I
singing.
know. I actually spent. I mean, I mean, I'm not a stranger to spending a lot of time, in the bathroom, and with a toilet like this, I would move in. It's like,
Yeah,
I'd be like,
yeah.
"Hey, my friend, how's it going?" In the age of AI, can you imagine how they're gonna actually develop
There's
these things?
100%. There's got to be a podcast you could do on this. We should do a gift giving podcast. Of course, we'll be too late, but about gifts that make your life
Let's do it
5%
on
better
January
or more.
1st.
Yeah, exactly. The January 1st gift.
No, which is great actually, because people can actually go.
What should you
and
return your gift
exchange.
for?
Exactly. We're
Well,
gonna do
that's great.
exactly that. That's a fun.
But
We
I
have
mean,
great ideas.
we really do. Yeah, but I really like this. If your life increases 5% or more, that's the
That's a great threshold. I mean,
that's the
it's a
perfect
very
gift. Yeah.
subjective. Yeah, like,
I think Japanese
I am
toilet might be
usually
10% better. Yeah, I
Oh,
really do.
it depends on how much time you spend on it. I mean, to
Well,
me,
for you, for sure, at least
25. I did read this the other day, though.
This is where we lose our
That
audience.
people. No. But listen, I think maybe the stat is wrong. I'm gonna Google it. You know how much time people spend on the toilet in their lifetime?
I don't want to know. Please tell me men versus women.
Okay, spend on
Or
a
fathers.
toilet.
Father.
I don't know. What do you think? Give me a guess.
Okay. At least a year, right?
I also think so.
Yeah. But I would also like to do men pre-children and then post-kids, 'cause
I
that's
don't
the
know that.
leap forward in
The
time.
very interesting thing is it's about the same time, and it's about 3 years.
3 3 years, okay. You can add 1, you're at 4 at least.
Yeah, there are extreme estimates, a man up to 2 hours a day, which is not
Those are those are the guys really hiding from their for their
okay.
kids.
This I think we need to somehow maybe this is gonna be a part we're actually finally gonna edit.
Yeah, yeah. No, it's a good one. Who's sponsoring you today?
That was a great Austin Dörfern. I think I've had it already before here. I don't know actually. It's a very wide label. Very, very nice. Rosi Schuster Burgenland Cuvée of the fuck I know. Very nice.
Mm,
13.5%, so it's got a bit of a punch.
nice. I
Nice.
will meet
And
your
yourself?
13.5 with another 13.5. So I've got
Ooh
Cross
la
Hermitage,
la.
Domaines Jean Esprit, 23. This is the kind of one that you wouldn't like because it's so silky
Heavy
and
motherfucker.
yeah, but I love that kind of
Nice.
stuff. Nice Syrah. And it's nice to actually finally be drinking with you on this podcast because I feel like I've
Dude, it's
been
been ages. It's been ages.
yeah,
We
actually
should
we need
actually
to
reintroduce those Friday sessions, actually. I
mm,
like them.
me too. I mean,
We're gonna do that.
it can be a heavy drinking
Although I didn't
episode
want to
too.
drink tonight because it's kind of a Christmas party tomorrow, but hey, whatever.
Fuck it,
Listen, you
dude.
only
It's
live
the
once.
holidays. Exactly.
My
You're gonna
friend,
shore it that way.
I gotta ask you. We did this last episode on what it means to be a man, which already kind of sounds crazy to talk about it like that. So,
Mm.
in the aftermath of this, what were your thoughts? Did you get any reactions to it?
I think I love the little clip that you kind of struck out about kind of magic. I think was my point, not to pat myself on the back, but about the magic of vulnerability and how that's a unique type of tool that a modern man should explore more of. And I think everyone who I've talked to casually has agreed with that and that resonated with them. It's the first time we kind of like commented on kind of a media personality. So the feedback in general was just curious and good. What about you?
No, I got a friend, an
Would you
old
get blowback?
friend. I wouldn't say blowback, but I got a message on LinkedIn from a former colleague and friend who said, like, "I just saw about your podcast. What's your goal with it, and why do you talk about being a man?" And I was like, "Ah, interesting." So we kind of exchanged a few messages back and forth, and it and in the end, I think it was very. It doesn't matter whether it was positive in the actually, but it made me also think and reflect a little bit, right? But because my first reaction when I just read the first sentence was a bit like, "Oh fuck, did we do something wrong?" Yeah, it made me think that is a very big topic, and obviously perspective, and I hope that was also clear to everyone, is limited to and I think we've said it where we are in a very, as we often jokingly say, privileged white male midlife position, and there's lots of men out there that we cannot probably relate to in terms of how they orient themselves or sexually or where they are in life and blah blah blah, that might have a totally different experience. And so we are, I don't think by any means saying this is what you should be and a man should be A or B or C. It's kind of
No.
more like interesting to see how this discussion develops, I think, and what it means to all of us respectively.
It's just 2 smart friends vibing on the topic and, trying to align to some point of view and, but not come down from the mountain with the tablet and say, "Here's what it is." So,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
that's my
So that
point of view,
that
but
I thought is
appreciate all
like
the comments, by the way.
there's obviously so many different aspects of it. And actually we got a comment on Instagram. Someone was saying, the clip I posted from of you about vulnerability, and this guy kind of posted, don't become pussies. And I thought that was actually exactly the interesting piece.
Everything in moderation.
Everything in moderation. And the other thing that I was kind of left with was I wasn't sure if because the thing I was still wondering about was like, so I think we had discussed about fathers, right,
Mhm.
and how they changed over time, and we kind of weren't clear how the fathers of the 50s that went to war were better than the fathers of the 90s and 2000s who didn't, right? So I kind of and we kind of talked about this, and then And then I read about it, and I just wanted to set some kind of facts straight, if you want,
Okay.
or
Ooh,
the record.
exciting.
And I thought this is interesting because the widest problem is now kind of like condensed is actually coming from, we talked about the school part, right? That the education system has shifted away from boys in generally because there is almost no more male teachers and so on. So boys like kind of a template for, if you want, intellectual masculinity. Then we have this whole the media stuff, which you kind of riffed on. It's like we had those classical but still somehow moderated male role models, like I don't know, even Michael Jordan or Bruce Willis in a movie, and kind of the media where everything goes into extremes, where you either have like your very extreme kind of what we talk about toxic masculinity to very on the other side. So it's kind of hard to find the middle. And then the first one, the last one of this is the home, the dad deficit. And that kind of said, it's just what happened is that divorce rates went up so profoundly in the last 20 to 30 years that there's just
Mm,
a lot of kids. And guess what? It's about 40% of kids in the US and the UK that grow up without a father in the home. And that's
crazy.
insanity. And that is really, really interesting. And that kind of, yeah. What's your
As
take on that?
the divorcee, and who's absolutely, at least from the outside in, done his work to be as present as he can to be there for his kids. Like, what's your take on that?
I do think that's what got me so much when, or hit me so much when I first had heard or listened to those podcasts with Scott as well.
Mm,
Was that, and I was like, oh fuck, I need to be there. And
mhm,
it kind of obviously, you get hit right into the guilt trap in all of this
of course.
and so on. It's like, oh, I need to do better and da da da, and I don't want my kids to be lost. And I have two boys and a girl. So, I don't want any of this for them, which, quite frankly, I don't think I do. And I might even overcompensate for that at times.
Well,
But
look,
yeah,
let's
that's
be
what it,
clear.
that's,
There's presence and there's presence, right? I mean, there's a lot of married couples whose fathers, are just off on on trips, not really there. I don't want to say it's quality over quantity. I'm not sure I believe that, but like, it's quality is obviously a huge part of the equation, right? And
but you
you
just
can.
talking about one thing that I find is very interesting. In
Mm,
a way, from what I've read also, in different pieces of literature, it's in this case almost true that quantity goes over quality.
yeah, I know.
And it is the presence and the being there of a male role model
Yes.
or the absence thereof that actually hurts. And I think we talked about this also in the last episode. It's much better to have an okay father at home, or okayish, or maybe even not super greatish, but still somehow there and not falling outside of the norm, than none, period. Or than one that it only shows up 3 times a year and then is super nice. So and that quality time can't make up for it. So
Not
it
only
is about
cannot.
having this figure at home. And that's interesting, I
Yeah,
thought.
it's super interesting. How First of all, how far are you? You're what, like a 20-minute walk between where your sons are and to where your
10,
apartment, right?
15,
10.
yeah, yeah.
That has to be really reassuring. That's pretty cool. I don't think a lot of divorced couples have that type of intimacy. And also, I mean, you guys are a nice model of trust between each other. But I think, there's nothing that really ticks me off. It's not wrong, but from the quality piece, the father that comes 6 times a year, three
The
times a
Weekend
year.
Dad.
Yeah.
I mean,
And
is
then
a
like, and
classical,
you do all the fun shit, right? Like, "Oh, I wasn't there for this. So
which I never
your
wanted to
hamburger."
be, which
No.
was one of the things I never wanted to be. And I kind of always understood that you know, being there when something happens is important. I do
Mm.
think. And
Mhm.
that
I
is
agree.
also presence, so, you just told me before that, your son just, came home early because he was sick, and we started recording a bit later because you went out, put him in front of the TV, like any good
Dad of the
parent
year.
would
Exactly.
do, that
Daddy's
of
got
the
a
year.
podcast.
Put a little
Drink
rum in
wine.
his hot chocolate and came back to do what's really
Came back.
important, right?
Exactly.
Exactly.
For
So
clarity, my wife's out there, but, but
Yeah, or your son comes home and he hurt his foot in football, like my oldest always does. So every 3 months we go to the ER and then we do an X-ray and then they say it's nothing. And I said, "Oh, really? No fucking shit. I didn't think there was, but okay, great. I just spent 2 hours in the ER waiting room with you. It's a great bonding exercise, but it actually is.
Mm,
So
mm.
I think in a way it's almost yeah, this quantity versus quality is in this case almost reversed. So there is a yeah, there is a baseline, I think, of presence that there need that from there on, I think quality obviously matters, but below that, I don't think quality makes a difference. So that's a big one.
Yeah, agreed.
Yeah. Do you think, in a sense, that the way you tried to be a father and your father, was a father is different?
Oh my god, I'm so glad you asked this. I've been meditating on this for some time. So I feel like I'm picking up on more and more of my dad's behaviors on how I'm parenting my kids.
Yes, I mean I know this. Yeah. Okay, go ahead. Go ahead
God,
though.
it's
Yeah.
like it's a crazy pattern. I'm like, oh, when I like get really strict, but not that strict. That's what my dad used to do, and and really direct, and uh, and I would draw on those patterns, and I'm like, oh God, I can't believe I'm drawing on what I know, obviously, versus what is, and then Vera has been, my wife is like really helpful in framing a lot of my dialogue because I'm so direct. I was like, get in the car, get in the, like, we got to move. We're going to be late. Like,
Oh
just
yeah.
dad stuff, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Just like normal thing. And then realizing that if you're super happy and excited, which is really hard to be on 5.5 hours of sleep and trying to get them to a school, but that extra bit of energy to do that will make your morning go so much easier. Like they just need to
Yes.
feel that, and I that's what I'm practicing right now.
Okay. That's have you ever had these moments where and usually those are the moments where coming back to our great episode about the nervous system with Johannes, when you're a
Yes.
bit more going up that curve, right? That you said the exact same words as your parents have used with you.
Great question. All the time, right?
Dude, but that's scary as shit. I mean, like, I
And
find
what's
it.
so scary about it is the pattern recognition runs so deep. My dad last used those words probably when I was 6, right? So I'm like, I'm just
No,
drawing
no,
on them
it's
again.
like
And
engraved. Like,
yeah, 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 yeah. And these are the most impressionable times. And so I often tell my son, which I think is gentle, is like, yo, listen, Felix, do this. Otherwise, we're gonna have a different kind of conversation, right? He doesn't know what that means. And that's me just trying to be gentle, right? And subtle. And then he plays it back to me. He's like, Daddy, you better read a book and then let me watch my movies. Otherwise, we're gonna have a different kind of conversation. He's like 3. I'm just like,
exactly.
I
Exactly.
was like,
Yeah.
I was
But
like,
so,
did I
okay. So,
just sentence him to saying he's gonna have a different kind of conversation to his own kids?
yeah, no, I mean, listen,
Yeah.
there's so many bad things I kind of repeat it. But in a sense, where are the things that you think you do different?
You know,
Or are
I
they?
actually no, there are. I think I spend a lot of time on imagination with and my dad was pretty good about actually, I even more imagination, I guess. So my dad, the greatest gift my dad ever gave me, I think, was an unlock. I still come back to this. I think I was 6 years old, and, you have these sort of storytelling exercises where we call them mad libs, almost where, like, you start to tell a story and then something's blank, "A man went to the blank of this," and I was struggling with it so much. I was like, "Where'd he go, daddy?" It's like, "It could be," and when he said, "It could be anywhere." To the moon. Daddy went to deep in the ocean, and then it just sort of created this weird unlock inside of me, um, that made me think, "Wait, like, anything could happen," and
Anything?
anything, right? And then I was started to write it down, and I realized I wanted to bring that in a lot earlier, and dial it up even more because I feel like that's the best kind of space to inhabit. So maybe it's not different, more amplified, if that makes sense?
Okay, that's nice though. That's super nice.
Yeah, yeah. What about you?
To me, it is. I wouldn't say a lot. Yeah, it is different, and I kind of. kind of.
We should also point out there's like a significant age difference in our kids, right? I mean, my eldest is 4,
And
so
mine
there's a
is
good 10
11.
year.
Yes, yes, yes. And I
Yeah,
think that's also, I think what I'm almost gonna, I'm looking forward to us having this conversation in 5, 6 years. And
exactly.
you being where I am now, and me basically having the kids out of the house, and then having this one again in 10 years, because I think that's a very good one, right? This role changes over time significantly.
Mm, mm,
And but also what is interesting, and I did some research how it changed over the course of time. Let's say over
mm,
the past 200 years or so. And there's a theory that says there's three eras of fatherhood almost, right? There was the era one, which they called the moral teacher, which was the pre-industrial world where dad worked at home because it was mainly farming, and he was, very clearly the boss, right? And physically present, I guess, in many ways all day, and responsible, for moral education as well. And then with the dawn of the Industrial Revolution, it kind of changed to area two, the provider, which meant dad went to work, wasn't at home so much, became basically a bit
mm,
of the wallet and the disciplinarian, and provided
mm.
security. And I think there's other theories that kind of, made this
And
analogy with
prosperity.
and prosperity, right? And there's this analogy that I thought was nice. Is in a different book, it said, the father provided the roof, which was the prosperity and the security, and the walls, which was the discipline.
Mm,
Very clearly, this is where we are, and then, which is era three, which we're in right now, is the involved dad, where the dad is expected to be a provider and a nurturer, right? And changes the diapers and is emotionally vulnerable and present and all these kinds of things
yeah,
that we kind of
yeah, yeah.
talk about right now, which I find very interesting as a change. As I think about this, I think my dad was clearly, in the era two
Mm,
spectrum of things. And
mm.
naturally, I'd love to be
Era
different than
3.
that and provide more of the nurturing and these kinds of things. And that's kind of which I want to be. And I'm going to finish my monologue very soon. I had a coaching session the other day, which was very interesting, where this coach asked me the question, what would you think of yourself as a father if you didn't provide for your kids? If you weren't able to pay for those things or pay alimony, as it is in my case, what would you think? Would you be, would you still be, or consider yourself enough of a father? And that got me deeply, because it really, really touched me, because I had doubts that I would think of myself as a good father if I wasn't able to provide.
I 100% agree with that. I don't think I could either.
Which is interesting, right? Because is that the only role?
No, it's not. It's an and.
Or are you less of a father if you don't provide?
Look, there are exceptions to every rule, of course. Like you can
That's
fall
always a
in
good
hard luck.
start.
Well, you can fall in hard luck. You can make poor decisions. There are all kind of reasons to not provide, but if you can and you're not, I think that's a challenge. Like I think providing is a foundational part of fatherhood and parenting. Doesn't mean provide to the best private schools, but like to do the basics, the at a minimum. Shelter, walls. I mean, I think providing rules and moral structure is important, and grounding. And if you're just talking about material things,
Mm,
like then
yeah.
yeah. Otherwise, who else will? The mom? Sure, she can fully, but
Yeah,
it's a
but wait,
collaborative effort.
okay, wait a minute. Oh, this is on a penalty point without a goalie, but almost if
I don't think I'm stepping into it like you think, but go ahead, finish it.
no, no, no. But listen, I mean, it could be very likely that you know, what if your wife had a job that it made 5 times would you make, and that would
I s-
require you to basically stay home, and then you wouldn't be providing, and you would be as a family and as a team. But how would you feel about that?
my quick trigger brain didn't entertain that scenario at the moment, and I should have. I think that is totally fine and welcome. I would love that problem. I would love that problem. Would it create a shift? Would it create a shift a little bit in the paradigm of it would, it would. But I mean, I think That's a kind of kick-ass kind of situation, you know? Like, I would love if Vera suddenly, you
But how
know
would I mean? Yes, it would change the dynamics, right, of who spends time with what and so forth. But how would
No, no, no,
if you
no,
think
that's what I'm
about
thinking,
it
like,
deeply?
I would
Yeah,
really have yeah, yeah, no, I'm honoring the provocation because, I really am. There's pleasure, weirdly I don't know if you feel this, about spending some of your hard-earned money on your kids on some bullshit. Not
totally
all
agree.
things, but just some where you're like, "Oh, yeah, okay, like, I put some time into this, effort into this, I'm giving it to my child," you know? I think that there's something about that that feels right. But I also think I could get around that with the right number and focus on no, I mean, really, like, I mean, it's also about experiences and not the tangible. I mean, I think this is what we're holding on, telling ourselves in this paradigm. But, you know, maybe another question to ask, if I had several zeros, 3 extra zeros in my bank account, how would I spend my time with my child? You know? And it's a little bit different. And I would be absolutely more leaning in and trying to give them the biggest wealth of experiences over things, and that's my truth, and I think the reality is that in this current construct of that we both have to work, etcetera, I can't give them that time, and I can give them some limited experiences, so I make it up with things, you know? And if I had unlimited resources, it would be different. Actually, it's the first time I thought about it that way, but I think I agree with it.
Yeah.
What do you think?
No, no, and I hear you, right? And in a sense, we've talked about this in this is an episode where we refer to all the other episodes about ambition and parenthood.
As it should be,
And
right? Because it's
right,
fatherhood, right? We're
because
drawing
all
on our own
connected,
lessons.
right?
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
and we talked about it, and in a sense, and I think I've said this before. I mean, for me personally, I have made a very clear decision that is true for me right now, and that might be different in a couple of years' time. That where I am at the moment, and with the age of my kids, that their age is my most perishable good that I own,
Hmm,
if you want, in a sense, because
it's a good phrase.
they will be older and out of my hair very soon. While my health will also obviously deteriorate, but I can manage. I can do something about this. My career is the same. I mean, I can still be. I'm 44. In 6, 7 years time, I'm gonna be 50. I can still do. I still have 20, 25 years to work if I want to and do whatever comes along. So I kind of feel this is a very clear time where to set a priority on this, and I wouldn't want to have a job right now that deprives me of that presence. And that might just mean that
Hmm.
doesn't mean I just chill out and stay at home all the time. But I talked about a job some weeks ago that would have been abroad and not far by any means, but I didn't feel okay doing that because that call I might get from my ex-wife that one of the kids needs to go to the hospital. I would like to be there and at least have the chance of doing it. I might sit in Vienna in an office and couldn't. That's also possible, but if I'm in Zurich or Munich, I can't for sure, period.
Yeah.
And that makes me nervous.
Can I share? I think this is what you just said is felt by, I would say, 90% of the people I talk about our age, talk to our age. There's something about it. I also think COVID, we don't really talk about it this much, just generally had such an outsized impact on us collectively as human beings about what matters and about time. And I feel that, we had collectively this awakening and everyone is making moves without actually naming why. And it's not
Hmm.
that COVID is root cause, it's about time, right? And how precious it is because, that was a singular event in our lifetime where time was given to us and we appreciated it, right? It was just
Yeah.
an unbelievable that's when we saw
Mm.
that gift, right?
It's a present. Yeah.
It was the ultimate, outside of the natural suffering and the deaths, and we know that, and we shouldn't gloss that over. But nonetheless, like for those that kind of went through it, that was that gift, and that you had this rewiring and reorientation. I think it matters because once you have that, you never want to go fucking back to like a way of looking at the world that see the opportunity and beauty of that gift. So hearing you talk about is probably not something you would have said maybe pre-COVID. You might have been like gone killer to like maybe it's not a
It's interesting. I
or
think
maybe
there's. I mean, let's.
entertained
I
less.
think let's
Let's put it that
first
way.
of all say this is also a um, you know, is a privileged, we can say it's from a privileged position because I can choose for most parts where I do my work, and if I do go abroad or stay here, and with all the work I do, and I can make a living and provide, or would be able to. And then that's a great position because some people don't have that, and they need to sit in a car or a plane
Yeah.
every week to go
But
wherever.
but
So
that
I
but
think
that
that
that's
that's
what makes
clear.
you a very good philosophical experiment because you
Yeah.
have choices.
No, okay, I have choices in that. But on the other hand, I see lots of people out there that with more zeros in the bank account than I have by far, that still make choices on the careers versus that, and that I find more interesting. That's also very interesting. And I don't want to judge at all here, but I find that interesting. Um,
Oh, you can. I mean, look, it's not wrong to like, it's funny. I mean, I think the trade-offs are real and you can't escape them.
no,
I think
you
that's a
can't.
real that's a really important thing. You know, you were talking about this when in our measurement episode, and I think we all know now. Not it's data. The data shows that we have the empirical evidence, of course, but time not spent with your kids now is going to bite you in the fucking ass later. You
Yeah,
cannot
no,
make it
and
up for
listen,
them later.
you
We all
can't
know that.
repeat it. You can't repeat the statistics often enough, right? You spend 80% of the time that you spend
Yeah,
with your kids in your lifetime until the age of 12. So that's clear. And everybody tells me who has kids that are older says yes, but the time afterwards is also very precious and great. And I fully agree. Yet still, we just need, in terms of presence, that's where you need to be present because that's
and
80%.
yeah, and we've all seen back to like kind of where this kicked off. Like the people, we all know that people are trying to make up for the time that they've lost, right? Because they chose the different paths of going hard on either for financial reasons or other pursuits, etc. And they are trying to make up for it and play up for those implications. But you know what? The challenge is like that's the wrong. You're such at a disadvantage, you know. You spend your life trying to recoup. You'll spend 20 years, 40 years trying to recoup what was lost that could have been gained in two.
Yeah, and then that's now very much a perspective of how we feel about it, right? But at the end of the day, what does it do to our kids? And it makes a difference to them.
That's just well, that's my point.
Yeah, yeah,
Because you spent 20 years trying to make your kids feel that you were there, right? And that you care about them, right? Which if you were just there for the 2 that mattered or 3,
exactly right.
then
No,
that
yeah.
would have
I mean, apart
saved
from the
you.
fact that it's a futile effort for yourself, it's probably very depressing to realize that. I think it's also, you know, what you do or what you can actually have a difference on your kids' lives when you are present right now. And and that's kind of my motivation that some of the things that I learned when I was 40 plus that they can maybe, be taught earlier, which to be honest with my almost in puberty 11-year-old, I've kind of lost faith already. So, but I guess that's the script as well. Because he tells me that, basically to go fuck myself very often by now, and even more so to his mother. But I guess that's life. At least that's what everybody tells me. But yeah, I have this kind of feeling that there are some things that my parents weren't able to teach me because they were not there, right? They didn't have the
Yeah.
the, the
Yeah.
capacity or the back or whatever it was, right? Their life was like it was. And I do, and I feel a responsibility to pass that on,
Mm,
to make it very
mm.
clear.
You
Is
know,
like
you're
like like you, I remember I told you that Johannes gave me a sheet of paper with vocabulary of how I express my bodily feelings. I love my kids to be able to do that. Just to give one example.
yeah, yeah. It's really interesting to draw a pattern to make it personal. You know, I really had a loving father, one who really was there and like in all the great ways. I would give him a 10 out of 10 as a dad. And not like everyone could say that, you know. I know he would give his dad a 6 out of 10, roughly, or 7. You know, I think he tried to make up for that gap, you know, like that he didn't feel with me.
Mm.
And, you know, I'm the one of the amazing beneficiaries of that kind of
That
generosity.
explains a lot, though, huh?
But he made a lot of choices. Also, I think who he married too, you know, who's also a very generous woman, you know,
Mm.
who naturally thought that way. And, you know, hearing you talk too, you know, it's a similar pattern, you know, not to, you know, it's like
Hmm.
it's
Hmm.
you sense
Hmm.
gaps, trying to make that up with your own kids. And it's kind of interesting. Like for me, we're almost at different patterns, to see,
Hmm.
you have clear gaps to actually close, that you're like, okay, for the experience, and I'm
Hmm.
like, okay, well, here was the really great experience, like,
How can I,
what make it even better, which is in a
yeah.
weird way is even harder. I just want to point out.
No, no, I hear you. I hear you. No, because to me, like the emotional availability, right? And I learned much later that it was there, but we probably never had the chance to connect in that way. And there
Yeah.
were moments in which it was, but there were many others where it wasn't, where I guess I was lacking at that point, which then showed up later in my life. And
Mm,
obviously, I'm trying to do this differently at the moment, right? And then I find it, and to be honest, I find it almost, I wouldn't say easier, okay-ish I with the boys. I think that's another interesting one versus
yeah,
my girl,
of course.
because with the boys, it's like you kind of feel how you were as a kid, and you can relate to this, and you know, and then we hear, and I find that it's super interesting, right? That actually there is a book. I don't know what it's called. I'm gonna post this later, but it's very interesting. Is about how important it is for boys to fight and kind of wrangle with their fathers, right? To be
100%. That's a
physical.
hugely important. They need
It
that.
is hugely important. It's hugely important. And it's actually, what they said is part of this got lost in this era too, when dads had to go to the factory, whereas they were at home before. And it's because it actually teaches the kids in nervous system regulation at the end of the day. And they understand the difference between what is aggression and what is calming down. And they kind of, that's what it takes and what they need, the physicality of it, the play of it. And that's also our role. We are usually, on average, and I'm not generalizing, and if you are not, you're not a man, right? But in general, men are more open to risk taking than women are. And I think we as parents usually know that we do shit with our kids, that if our wives would see that, they would kill us. We can say
100%.
that now. 100%, right? So we're like, yeah,
I've
that's gonna be, he's
I've
gonna be fine.
I've experimented with, basically, I'm a pro wrestler with my child in the bed.
Exactly. Or you kind of throw them in the pool, like
Yeah,
5 meters in, and
yeah,
they
yeah,
scream, and
exactly.
they're like,
How far
they
can I
look
throw
at
this?
you in the air. You see the eyes, that their head is basically just eyes. They look at you in complete disbelief.
I know.
Then they
I think
touch the water. They dive in. They eventually come up. You're like, fuck me, I'm happy they come up. They
yeah,
look at you, and they start screaming of laughter and say, "Eddie, again." And
yeah, exactly.
you don't, I mean,
You're okay.
these are the
Yo,
moments. You're okay. It's like,
what's the German word from deep panic between, did I just injure
that's
my
like,
child or
kill
give
my
him the
kid.
best? Yeah,
I don't know what it is. It's like Herzstillstand, it's a heart attack. You're like,
yeah.
what did I just do?
Oh,
And then it's super
I
fun,
did.
and you do it again. I mean, it's crazy.
Totally. Yeah, no, I replicated last night or 2 nights ago a move which I saw from, like, Street Fighter
Hulk
2, the
Hogan.
video game. Like,
Exactly.
close. I was like, "Can I, like, take him like this, spin him around?" And it was, I know Felix did, like, 3 kind of helicopter spins in the air before landing in the bed, which I was kind of
Yeah.
proud that I got
Yeah.
3. And then he got up and laughed. He's like, "Daddy, that was crazy." He
And the
started
same is,
laughing.
I mean, I wonder how it is with you. Like, when your boys fight, do you have, I mean, who draws the line earlier, you or Vera?
Oh, Vera, obviously, I'm
Of
just like,
course.
"Yo, let
I
these
mean,
guys
I'm
do this."
also like, usually it's like, as long as they don't bleed, let them, and they don't throw fists, let them go, because they obviously just need that. And they're like,
Yeah,
it's stupid what they do. And it doesn't really even tick me off, because I know, okay, I mean, boys
yep.
need to be boys. And then you need to find the point, though, where you have to break it off, because it can escalate quickly.
Yeah, what simple beings we are. That's true.
Exactly. So, and on the other hand, with girls, and I find that is an interesting one. There is a book called Strong Fathers, Strong Daughters, and it's quite a
Yeah,
by
yeah, it's a famous
Meeker
one.
or something. It's a famous one, right? And it basically says that the father-daughter relationship sets the biological and psychological standard for the future of your daughter's romantic relationships, which is like, Jesus, that's a big one.
Well,
So
you know that
basically,
Chris Rock joke, right?
what is it?
You know that Chris Rock joke, right?
No,
You got one responsibility as a father to a daughter.
what is
You
that?
gotta keep her off the pole.
Yeah, Jesus.
Keep her
but it is about, because they look at, because it's the first time that they look at you, how you treat a woman, how you treat, her mother, and all of these
That's the
things,
point.
and
That's the
and
point.
that's very much influencing her choice and everything. And there's another book that's quite famous in Austria. It's called The Absent Father, in Germany, or I
Mm,
think The Absent, or The Hurt Daughter is actually called
yeah.
Wounded Daughter. Yeah, and that's also hardcore, actually.
It's funny. I mean, I know it's taking it to an extreme, but in America, we have this great radio disc jockey, Howard Stern, who back in the day
Of
used to
course.
love interviewing the strippers and the porn stars, et cetera. And then, like, he wouldn't even mess around. He's like, so, like, the conversation would be like, so tell me when the relationship between you and your dad broke down. Yeah. It's like, you just assume. And they would all be like, yeah, yeah. When I was 5 or 6, they left or whatever, this kind of stuff. The and obviously this is an extreme case, and I'm poking a little fun, but like the through line is so clear and tangible.
Yeah,
So
that's nice, huh?
anyway,
Yeah, and there's maybe the last piece of literature kind of advice we can give to that also, I thought, is a nice picture, and we talked about it before, is like, moving away from providing the roof and the walls, meaning the security and the discipline, to being basically the scaffolding for your kids. So you kind of hold it all together, and give them the, I don't know, how do you say, the environment to grow and to prosper
yeah,
and to be something.
yeah,
And I find that
yeah,
super nice, about being a father,
and powerful.
and powerful. And I guess at the end of the day, though, as everything, you can also exaggerate, right? And if you worry about it too much, you probably also don't do too well. I think is that what you call a helicopter parent, which I don't think I am. Is that the thing,
No,
right?
you're
Where,
definitely
no,
not a
what's
helicopter parent.
no,
Helicopter
I'm
parent
not.
is like you need to watch your kid do every single
No,
thing
no,
at
I
every point in
absolutely
time.
don't
Anytime they're
have the
about to.
nerve for this, right?
No, no, no. You're
And
you're the opposite. So
so, but yeah, so as we saw in this, it's important how we show up as fathers. It makes a difference, and to me, kind of is. It almost feels right now, at least, as the biggest responsibility that I have in my life, to be
well,
fair.
what I'm taking away from this conversation, agreed, of course, is how our different experiences of our fathers have shifted or
Mm.
naturally influenced our approach of fatherhood right now. And I think what's really interesting is that, this is an oversimplification, but you're trying to close gaps from your own experience, and I'm trying to amplify them, amplify an experience. And I think it's an interesting bifurcation that maybe we can talk about on another episode. But for me, that's kind of the meat of this one, my friend.
Yeah, that's all. And that was surprising to me, and I love that
Mm,
insight. And to me, I kind of like this, embedding my own experience into how fatherhood has evolved over time, and the theories around this, and kind of feeling a little bit also more at ease by reading up on all of these things, that how we feel is how many others feel as well, and what we do in being here, kind of out of our gut feeling, mostly, is not wrong. Because I also remember one thing, that I never read a single book about being a father,
of
like
course not.
my, the exactly like the mother
Which is
of
the most
our
fatherhood thing to
children.
do.
Exactly, has probably, read 3 books when they were pregnant. So maybe you read this, and no, fuck this shit, I'm
Uh,
not gonna read that. So actually now, 11 years into fatherhood, I finally, actually, I think, ever tried to read, or learn something about this from a book. Now you have a podcast, so you don't need to listen to the book. This is a, almost,
yeah, this
this
is
is
the
a
best thing.
perfect summary.
Exactly.
That's just to be very, very
Why write it?
modest here. Exactly, it's a perfect summary. Don't read a fucking book. Listen to us. Listen, my friend. 47 minutes in. Terminator and Idiot of the Week. What are we thinking? What are you
Am
thinking?
I going? Am I going doing both?
You go whatever you feel like, man.
Okay. I'm going to reverse order. I'm going to start with the idiots.
Ah,
Idiots for sure. FIFA this week. I got to tell you, have you looked at the World Cup tickets? Insane. Like, oh my God. What? I mean, this is the most corrupt, insane
yes.
bullshit you've seen. I mean, it's
I mean, did you see
five.
the show?
Yeah, of course. But the tickets are 5x what they were in Doha for the final. 5 times.
No.
Yeah.
That's insane.
It's So stupid. And, look, I'm hoping to host you and friends, here during the World Cup because, I mean, A, I have space, you should come, and it's, like, one of the world's great parties, if anything, like, let's just, have fun with, South
Absolutely,
Americans. Yeah, yeah,
absolutely,
it's the best thing to do.
absolutely, absolutely.
But absolute idiots of the week. Now, the Terminators, I wanna give a real shout out. So, I talked last several episodes ago about this special art project I launched called The Great Reflection about
Mm,
recording podcasts
yes,
of our elders. So many people reached out, including, ex-clients and former
really
CEOs of businesses who are like,
awesome.
"This
I
is a
love
great
this.
thing. Can I
Do
either
it.
do this or can I be like CEO of this business? What is this business?" And I'm like, "Guys, is this like an art project?" A shout out to my co-founder, Chris Everett, who is as lovely and genuine as a human as you can imagine. He's the right co-founder for this project, and it felt really very validating for everyone who met him to say, like, "That's a guy." So
I'm
cheers to
sure,
you,
man.
Chris.
That sounds amazing. I also want to give my Terminator of the week to a bunch of friends. We had a Christmas dinner Wednesday night, and before the dinner went out in just three of us for pre-drinks. And right off the bat, we had such a great conversation. It was
Mm.
almost about orgasms, I would say, almost. But I was like,
Not
"Fuck me,
brave
we,
en brave
we
enough
are
for that one
growing
yet.
up. We are growing up here," and I was quite impressed actually by the openness, vulnerability, and it was topics that I'm sure 100% 5 years ago we wouldn't have talked about, and it was super fun. And then we went on, and it was a bigger group, and we just talked shit for a night basically, which was also great. And my idiot of the week was something deeper, but then I just did this. Did you do this Apple update and now everything
Yes,
looks weird? What the
it
fuck is
does.
this?
It's so stupid. It's
What
like
the
a
fuck is this shit?
you
Is this the only innovation that is like half
well,
transparent and
can I tell you
pseudo
something?
3D? The fuck? Can I switch
It's
it back?
totally ableist. It's totally like you if you and I are struggling, we're pretty competent in tech. Imagine being 70. You upgrade your
No, but
phone and like
why?
what yeah.
Why?
Now this is there and this stuff, like,
No, I don't
there's
even.
an
I haven't
elegance to
even
the
come so
design I
far. It
like.
just looks different and makes me nervous. It's like, what the fuck is this? So, anyways, that's a very first world problem as well. And on that note, it was a pleasure.
It was amazing. I love this episode.
Yeah, me too, man. Okay, see you soon. I hope.
See you. Bye.